Hi, I'm Darren Hayes, and welcome back to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Well, I would fly you to the moon and back if you'll subscribe to the Sarah O'Connell Show. Most degrading moment of my life, and I would only do it for Sarah O'Connell.
Darren Hayes, welcome back to the Sarah O'Connell Show. How are you today?
I'm happy because I've had a week of press, and you have been my special treat that I've been promised at the end of all of it, and I'm just so glad to see you.
I'm thrilled to see you. You're back for the sequel. This is episode 5, Chicka Cherry Cola Strikes Back.
So this is the sequel. So what are we having more of? It's like more thrills, more jokes, more curls. Less what? Less what? No, there's always more everything. Less.
Yeah, there's more. Well, I'm going to put the special effects in afterwards. And obviously we have to complete this trilogy.
Yes.
We're going on a 1 per year cycle, and then we're going to go back, do the prequels. When we're 100, we're going to do the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, we're going to do de-aging of our faces because we have to appear in the prequel trilogy as well.
Oh, I do that already.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations, by the way, on how many episodes of this show have you done?
It's quite a lot now. It's over 200.
It's amazing. And also, you know, since we became friends, because we're friends now, I don't think people watching this know, but we became friends since.
Oh, I tell everybody.
Well, I'm telling everyone now. She's my friend. Yeah, she's my friend. Sorry, I'm just doing a podcast with my friend, Sarah O'Connell. Sorry, people are lining up. I went back and watched a lot of your comedy and your stand-up, and you are so funny. And so funny, and I'm a little embarrassed that I tried to do some little sketches with you last time, but
well, you've done a lot of it yourself. You studied improv at the Groundlings, and you're a professional too. And I think when you're out on tour, if you haven't got any warm-up acts, you know, we could get up there, do some rap battles, dance-offs.
Oh yeah, I will dance the crap out of you. That didn't sound right.
I look forward to it. I don't need a high fiber diet anymore. I can just have you do that to me every day.
I know, that sounds, yeah, exactly. It sounds like a laxative ad.
It really is.
Dance the crap out of you.
You're that relaxing. It's phenomenal. So you're over in the UK at the moment, speaking about something that I'm massively excited about. 2023, you are going on tour to Australia and the UK. I've got my tickets in the front row. So excited about it.
You bought tickets?
I bought tickets with actual money, yeah.
I would have given you tickets.
I wish I knew a person. You can give me more tickets.
I know someone that could have hooked you up, girl.
Oh, no way. Oh, I didn't realize this. Well, I figured you were a bit busy, you know, with the whole world tour thing.
I was. And you know what? I actually would find it a little bit difficult to give tickets away because it has sold so well that we're very close to selling out the entire tour. It's within a couple of days. It's going to be real for a minute. I'm very emotional about it. Like yesterday, well, when we did the pre-sale, now I'm dramatic, so I can say this. My fans are dramatic too. And my phone was blowing up with all these notifications because people were like, what the F? The pre-sale sold out in like 5 minutes. And I was thinking, yeah, no, I didn't. It's me. There's no way that this happened. And it did. And so then on the day of the general sale, it's crazy. Like, yeah, a couple of venues have actually sold out, and the rest of them are about 70 or 80% sold out within the first day. So we only went on sale yesterday, and it's amazing and it's mind blowing. I guess I had to pretend I was dead for 10 years and then just be like, oh, we better go and see him.
Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not a morning person at all. So 9 a.m. for me is just really late at night. So I figured I'd just stay up and work on my show for a while. So I stayed up, then got the tickets, then went to sleep because I could not rest until I had them. But now I do, so it's all good.
So we're going to hang out. So I'll tell you what, I'm really not a before the show person. For you, I will be though, because you need to see me before the show because I will look beautiful. After the show, I look like a cat that's been stuck in a sauna for 2 hours and It's all gone. If I wore fake eyelashes, they'd be all peeled off, but I don't. But I'd look dreadful afterwards. But usually I meet people after the show because I still get nervous. So I get a little nervous before the show. But for you, I would love to see you before the show because you get to see me looking good and I smell good.
I've got the exact same thing. Like, unless we're going to the cinema and it's pitch black, no one can really see me at night time. It's terrible.
Okay, cool. Hey, what was the last movie you saw at the cinema? Because of COVID, are you going to the cinema or not?
I wasn't, but then I started to again. So I was just seeing like the Marvel movies and stuff, anything with a spoiler. So the last movies I watched were Top Gun 2.
Loved Top Gun 2.
Top Gun 2 is really good. I saw Elvis.
Yeah. What do you think?
I enjoyed it. They modernized it quite a lot. I would have liked to have had more of his music. Which is an odd thing to say, but it was good for what it was. It was over 2 hours. It flew by.
Yeah. I loved it.
So this tour, 25 years of Savage Garden and Darren Hayes, of course. So we're going to be getting some of the classics, some of your solo stuff. We're going to be getting some Secret Codes and Battleships.
Well, 25 years of the first Savage Garden album was really what I sort of meant to highlight. I probably should clarify that because that first Savage Garden album, the black and white cover one, the eponymous title, is so iconic to me. Like, I'm a fan of it because I just think it's like this out of body experience to me when I listen to it, because it's just, I love the pop production on there. And when you hear my new album, you'll understand, like, they definitely kind of connect in a way in terms of the sound, I think. So I want to play a lot of that album. One of my ideas was actually to play that album just in its entirety before I even had a new record to make. But yes, I'll be playing everything, but mostly hits. Like, I really decided on this tour that I wanted it to be, well, let me clarify. You know what happened? I went to see Kate Bush on tour, and I wasn't expecting her to play anything old because I love her and I love her new music. And I'm not one of those people that expect an artist to live in the past, and I respect when they want to evolve or whatever. Ariel was just such a huge favorite of mine, so I was happy. I thought, oh great, she's going to play this new record. And then about 4 or 5 songs into the show, she played Hounds of Love, and I just burst into tears. And then I just remembered, like, wow, you know, like, she'd been away for so long and I didn't expect her to come back. And my fans didn't expect me to come back at all because I had no intention to come back. So I came away from that experience really understanding the power of how the songs don't belong to me, they belong to all of us. And I mean everyone's songs, you know, and that if I don't sing these songs, who else will, you know? And who am I to kind of deny my audience and what my time on this earth while I am able to, while I'm alive, especially post-COVID. I just thought, now that I'm happier and now that I'm excited about music again, the first thing I wanted to do was kind of get back and just be the guardian of that music again, and give people what I think that they deserve to hear. I know I have a lot of hardcore fans that would be happy if I never played Savage Garden songs again. But for me, I wanted to do this tour as a sort of a reset, you know, to kind of just embrace it all and pepper a few new songs in from the new record, play some obvious solo songs that you would expect I would play, and some super hardcore fan favorites like Casey, or things that people that really know my solo work know, but really give that casual fan who hasn't heard of me for years, but just heard the word Savage Garden and went, oh, you know, we got to go to the show. I want that fan to come away from this concert and just feel like they got to relive all of those memories that they remember from being a kid.
I am so excited about it. You mentioned it to me privately in our last interview, and I was sworn to secrecy. And I'm so thrilled that you're releasing new music. And I know how hard you've been working with your mirror exercise, future technology thing. Have you started choreographing the tour yet and thinking about the set design and things like that?
Yeah, set design, absolutely. You look fantastic, by the way.
Thank you so much. You look amazing all the time.
No, and in fact, last time we spoke, I really didn't feel amazing physically, and but I was preparing to come back, definitely. And I told you, and you're a really good keeper of secrets, by the way.
Thank you.
If anyone wants to divulge secrets, Sarah is she's a crypt keeper. That didn't sound right. Yes, in fact, I had a meeting this week with our show director and designer, Willie Williams. So Willie has done every Savage Garden tour and Darren tour since the Affirmation tour. So if you're familiar with those big colorful lights from 2000, that was Willie all the way through. And he's U2, the band U2, but also the band Self-Esteem, if you've ever seen her. So yeah, we had a meeting, and I wish I could tell you. I'll tell you afterwards what the set is. It's really fun, and I get to work with a couple of my vintage band members from back in the day, like Lee Novak, my first ever bass player. He was 19 when I met him.
Wow.
Can't do math, but 25 years plus 19 is how old he is.
30-ish, I don't know.
Yeah, he's 80, exactly. Yeah. So good you can do the math. He's coming out on tour with me. Carl Lewis, our original drummer. Who else is coming out on tour? Oh, if anyone saw my performance at Mardi Gras in Australia, Trevor Yasuda, who is my American dear friend who mixed my new album, who works with Dua Lipa, he works with Lana Del Rey, a bunch of other people. He is coming on tour with me to play like everything from lead guitar to keytar to all sorts of stuff.
Sounds so good. Will you instantly be hiding any CDs under people's chairs this time?
I love that you know this. I'm going to explain this very obscure, cool reference. In 2007, I did some shows in London's Sex District, and I played at the Soho Review Bar that used
Parliament.
to be. Well, apparently today, yeah. I can't believe the person whose job it was to make sure people behave themselves wasn't behaving himself. Get him out of there. I used to do these shows that in an ex sort of titty bar, and I would put secret songs on CDs and blue tack them underneath the seats for unsuspecting fans. So maybe I will. Maybe, what would I stick underneath seats now? I guess it'd have to be like a USB stick.
Yeah, hologram.
Or I could just sing a song into a bottle and put a cork in it. Or I could hum an intention into like some sort of stick of energy, and I could just think the thought really into the space.
Hide underneath someone's chair, and that's where the concert starts. You emerge underneath their chair, and that's where the show starts.
Yeah, I could do that.
So in March, you returned to Mardi Gras after 17 years. Last time you played there, you weren't out or anything like that. How did it feel to be back on that stage with all the confetti, the fireworks, the fireballs even, with that gorgeous suit you're wearing that people can incidentally now buy their own version of? What was that like?
It felt like being Madonna. And if anyone ever grew up with a hairbrush in their hand, singing in front of the mirror, wondering what it would feel like to perform in a stadium, that's what I got to do. I literally got to rehearse with a production that was as big as a Super Bowl performance. And in fact, it was 3 minutes longer than a Super Bowl performance, because our performance was 12 minutes long. And I think a Super Bowl performance is, only, well, I don't know how long a Super Bowl performance was. Ours was longer. And there were 3 actual satellite stages on the cricket grounds. And it was so complex. I had to perform in a sound stage where I had to practice my physical stamina from the quick changes and running from one stage to the next one. So with the camera blocking, so that when the camera would be off me, I would have to time that I could actually make it to the next stage. And my suit that you mentioned was designed by Sass and Vibe, but the one you can buy in retail stores is pretty good, but it's really a sort of a facsimile of what they did for me. Mine was literally, they designed it for me, and it was hand stitched. I was hand stitched into it onto the night because my pants are not like the ones you buy in retail. Mine were like high waisted, as you saw when I took my jacket off, and inspired by prints. And I got like zipped into it in the back, and it was all completely down to like every. It was like it fit like a glove. It was incredible, but everything was tear away. So like I had these little ruffles and things that tore off, and because I didn't have time to take that shirt off, it was actually a clip-on like a stripper shirt. It was amazing. So the minute I left one stage, I'd like stand there and someone would rip one section of it off and I'd go somewhere else. There was choreography that was so fun, and it was great to work with dancers who were just very forgiving, because I do dance, but I'm not like those incredible artists that were on stage. Wasn't prepared for the fireballs. They weren't in dress rehearsals. So I tried to, there was a moment where I was on stage and I pretended to be just like taken in by the moment. I was kind of like, close my eyes. And there's an amazing press photo of me like looking like I'm just overcome. No, what actually happened was my eyeballs almost got singed out of my face.
You need those.
Need them. The heat of the fire was so intense, and we hadn't rehearsed for that. I was just like, Jesus. Yeah, it was a lot. It was amazing.
It's incredible. So many years ago, in your I Knew I Loved You music video, it featured Spider-Man's girlfriend, Kirsten Dunst. Now you've got a sequel of sorts, because you're back with Let's Try Being in Love with Captain America's brother, Scott Evans.
Yeah. Oof. Hottie. Sorry. So good looking. So great. I love that you made the connection, because the director of the music video, first of all, I'm really proud that almost everyone behind the scenes and everyone, well, certainly the casting of me casting an out gay actor was really important to me. But, you know, our director, our colorist, our editor, a lot of our crew, everyone was on the LGBTQI spectrum. And that was really important for me to be able to have that power as an employer. It was my company. So I got to have that incredible power to do that. And then just also I've been working with so many more women now, which has been amazing. And it was important for me to tell this queer story so authentically. And the director, Andrew Pachogal, sorry, Pachogal like bagel, he always tells me that. You know, he said to me, it was really cool to do like a gay version of that first video, you know. And so I wrote the story because it was really the metaphorical feeling of what it felt like to know that you're gay but married to a woman, you know, to be trapped really in the wrong world, which I think a lot of people relate to this feeling, and that feeling like you'd be trapped there forever. And this awful feeling of like knowing on one side of destroying this beautiful thing was freedom, but in order to get to freedom, you had to destroy something innocent. And my friend Madeline is in the video. She's one of my best friends, and she plays essentially my wife, really. And the way that we structured that video, you know, Scott had been someone that I'd been sort of Instagram friends with over the years, vaguely, but I had a very innocent crush on for years. But I knew I needed to have an actor that was so talented. I'd seen him in a movie called, I think it was called Nearly Love, or Almost Love, actually, Almost Love. And I just knew he was really talented, and, you know, I could care less that he was you know, who his brother was. I just had always found him so real and engaging, but also I wanted someone that I could have sexual chemistry with.
Yeah, of course.
On screen. and that I would be a little bit nervous around. And so we shot all of our scenes chronologically, so that the first time I'm sitting across the table with him, there was nervous glances between us. And then the first time we touch is the first time we ever touched. The first time we kissed is the first time we ever kissed. And when he left, the set, there's one performance where I'm in the hallway and I'm in that really colorful suit, and I was crying at the end of the take because I was exhausted and elated, because I finally felt free as an artist. I finally felt like I was my true authentic self.
Yeah. And that really comes across in that music video. I can just tell that you're thriving, and I was so happy when I saw that, and happy for you, and that you finally just get to express yourself as you want to in your own music videos and totally own who you are. And I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Thanks, Sarah. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about, and it's just this, for anyone, I think, that has ever felt trapped in a situation, trapped in your body, trapped in a gender, trapped in a relationship, trapped in a gender role, trapped in a sexuality or anything like that, where you felt for a second like there was no way out, to just see a glimpse of freedom. In some ways, it reminds me a little bit of that scene in Stranger Things in the last, I haven't seen the last couple of episodes, but where Max is stuck in the upside down, but she can see there's a vision of a cloud of her friends on the other side.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what my freedom of potentially being gay was. And I imagine, anyone who sees the potential for their freedom to be their true authentic selves, it seems so impossibly far away, but just the hope of it is enough to sustain you and keep you going.
It really does, and it really can. And once you're on the other side of that, it feels like a mountain's lifted off your shoulders, and it's the best thing in the world. And everyone deserves to have that and experience that.
Yeah, totally.
You released a 12-inch extended mix of that song, of course.
Yes.
Which included a cover of Madonna's "The Look of Love" from 1987. Can you tell me, though, will that song be on the album?
No.
So you need to go out and you need to find it to listen to that song. That's where it is.
Yeah.
Do you remember music video? Does it contain a reference to Savage Garden's "Chained to You"? Is it referring to the same kiss?
Yes, well spotted. So it's the same story, this time told from my point of view as a 50-year-old gay man. So the first time I told that story, I was newly divorced, and I hate the word closeted, because I think that implies some sort of judgment and complicit deception. And I think that's really unfair.
You don't owe anybody that information.
Exactly. But before, "Chained to You" is a song that I wrote about my first ever relationship with a man. And, it's a very innocent, fun rock song, but no one really knew I was talking about a man. But if you really listen to it, where else would you be in a nightclub dancing, why, like I'm saying, acting like a mover shaker, dancing to Madonna, "Then You Kissed Me." And the truth was, I was at Splash nightclub in Manhattan, which was a famous gay club that's now closed. We were listening to Ray of Light. So that's why in Do You Remember, this is now me as a fully formed human being, fully formed producer and songwriter in my own right, writing the song again. And I'm like, I'm reminiscing now about my youth. I'm reminiscing about those good old days when I was single, and when I was first coming out, and like just how joyous it was to just finally be free, and that first feeling of like being with the right gender that felt completely right to me. And I'm expanding upon that moment. And when even in that song, when I'm saying listening to Ray of Light and We Were in Love, that interval that I hit is the same note that Madonna hits at the end of Ray of Light. Like, it's all very, very intentional. And I love that you knew that.
Of course. I've been listening to you for a very long time. So your latest single that you've released, Poison Blood, is incredibly powerful and personal. A lot of people didn't realize you were living a deeply unhappy life for the longest time, and you've spoken about depression openly now, and I think it's going to help a lot of people that you did that. And the song really resonated with me too. The line, "Every day is a decision to stay." I've been there many times. I've lost friends to suicide as well. And it's such a heartbreaking song, but it's also such a hopeful song. And I think it's both. And I think it's going to help a lot of people. So just thank you for sharing that part of yourself.
Well, thank you for connecting with it. You know, it's such a strange thing, isn't it? Because I couldn't not write the song, because part of the reason I'm here today is because I made that album. I don't think I've really said that out loud in any interview. I was so deeply unhappy. And when I say that too, I want to clarify, part of having a major depressive disorder is that there are many periods when I'm deeply unhappy. And each time I'm never sure if I will come out of it again. And I think what I'm addressing in Poison Blood is that part of the tragedy of suicide is that, you know, a mentally ill brain lies to you, and it manages to convince you that the overwhelmingly sad feeling that you have is permanent, and you despair because you think this will never change. And it's such the suffering is so intense that you think, I can't possibly bear this, because if this is going to be forever, how can I bear this? But the truth is that feelings are impermanent, and that feelings change. Logically, we're not thinking logically when we're depressed, and so we don't have evidence of that. But I think what I really want to try to remind people of is that after 50 years of probably 30 years of experiencing these cycles and cycles and cycles of depression, I at least am proof. So if you ever need proof that those cycles move and change and they're not permanent, well, I'm living proof of that. But also so are you, because if you're here, you have survived everything that you've ever been through. And I can make light of it and make joke of it, because there are some moments where I have been suicidal, and then the next day something lame might happen, like say I'll have a bagel and I'll think, I'm so glad I didn't off myself yesterday, because this bagel's really good. And I would never have had this bagel before. Or there might be an episode, or an episode of a TV show that I watch. I'm like, oh shit, I would have missed out on that episode of Conversations with Friends. Shit, I really love that TV show. Like, and a week later, I could just be thinking, I can't believe that I was just thinking that life was just so unlivable, and look at what's happening today, you know.
Because when you're there, you can't see past it. But when you're past it, you can't see how you were there. Yeah,
that is so important. If you listen to this, rewind that and listen to what Sarah just said again, because a therapist taught me this, and this is so helpful to me, is that the reason I wrote this line in the song, it's not that I don't want to live, it's the pain that I wish I could kill. Because my therapist reminded me, he said, you don't want to die. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, you don't want to die. It's just that you want to stop being in pain. And there's a difference. And when he reminded me of that difference, I just thought, gosh, you're right. Because if I think about it, like, no, the concept of dying is brutal and terrifying, and, you know, but it's this painful experience that I'm in. And then I broke it down even further, and I thought, no, what this is there's an experience that I'm going through that I want to rush past. I want to skip. I don't want to experience this. I don't want to have to feel it, because I think if I feel it, it might be so overwhelming that my body can't handle it. But ultimately, you can't skip the steps, you know, and just putting off dealing with an emotion doesn't make it go away. It's just waiting there. It's very, very patient.
Yeah.
It's just waiting for you. And so learning that you can feel those big emotions and they don't destroy you is huge. Yeah.
It really is. Instantly, I love the visual tribute to Prince's When Doves Cry at the beginning of the music video. And the whole thing's just so powerful and beautiful. And if you haven't watched it yet, please go and do that. But you know that thing where you go into a bathtub and when you come out, your fingertips are wrinkly and your toes are wrinkly too. And scientists say that the reason for this is because it actually improves your grip in the water. So there's a practical reason for it.
Improve our grip in the water.
I am aware of the fact that that music video took you 12 hours to shoot. So my question to you, Darren Hayes, is this. When you came out of that bathtub, could you walk up the wall?
Yes, I could. Yeah, I had to walk up the wall as well, because that's where they put my check at the end of the day. I got paid for that. You know what's funny is I didn't have any of that stuff, and I wonder why, because we had to color the water. And it turned out that the way that they did it was with actual milk. We tried different things. We tried different dyes, and they did lots of tests leading up to the shoot. And we freaked out because we realized that they were chemicals, and we thought, ooh, we've only got me for one day. What if they put me in the bathtub? And then I had to do all those like close-ups and things. And they thought, what if he has some weird reaction to it, and then he's just like a pufferfish afterwards?
If you turned into a pufferfish, we'd have to put you in an aquarium.
Well, we would have worked that into the video. Something this would have been just floating, you know, past, like finding Darren. Yeah, so they ended up just using skim milk. So I'm a vegan, but I was just in skim milk there for a while. And for some reason, I guess it is very moisturizing to the skin, because I didn't get little puffer fingers. Don't know why. My shrinky dink was quite shrinkled by the end of it, though. I will admit that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
That's my follow-up question. How can I continue this now? Can you tell us when to expect to learn more about the album title and when it might be in stores and digital outlets?
Sure. I've been teasing everything out because I've really have been having fun that this is like a traditional old school album campaign, in the same way that I've been making music videos, and everything has like a nostalgic aesthetic to it. That's why I've been calling my remixes 12-inch extended mix, because that's what they used to be called. Not that I'm Inspector Gadget. And
not after the milk.
No, not anymore. The Shrinky Dink mix. In a couple of months, there'll be an announcement. Where are we? There'll be an announcement in about 4 weeks.
It's very exciting. So people should be following you on all social media, subscribing to your newsletter.
And to my moral beliefs.
Yeah.
Subscribe to my moral beliefs and all my stuff. Yeah, people really should. I mean, I had been harping on about this, but you know, my email list, if you go to my website, there's a little subscribe. And if you are watching this and you haven't subscribed to Sarah's YouTube channel, you should, because literally has interviewed everybody. I watched the opening welcome message, which is sort of like a celebratory thing. And I must admit, I got a little bit threatened by how many celebrities you've interviewed, but you've literally interviewed everybody. So people should do that as well.
Well, you should know that you're one of my favorite people on the absolute planet. And the more times people come back, the more I like them. So you're going to have to go for the record. And you're one of my most popular interviews I've ever had, genuinely.
If anybody dares to try to break this record, I will break their neck. So we're doing a 3-quel, but that's what we're setting up, right? So I think what we do is we have a 9-film slate with
and a tour.
And a tour. You know what we could do though? Wouldn't it be fun if we did an In Conversation live?
I would do that.
I know you would, because I'm asking you to. We could do that. Next time I'm in London, we could have some sort of fun, like ticketed event.
I'd love to do that.
Wouldn't that be fun? And maybe we could do something where maybe we do something for charity, but we could donate some proceeds to charity of your choice. And we could have a real proper gab, and we wouldn't have to edit anything out. And we could make everybody, you know, they used to make people put their cell phones in a special little pouch. Well, we could make people put like, we could put Hessian bags over their heads so that they, you know, they don't get to
they don't even get to hear it themselves.
No,
it's that secret.
It's so secret.
It's going to be so good. But they just know that they're in the room where this legendary conversation that will be turned into movies and talked about and speculated about for years happened.
They're in the room where it happened, the room where it's like, what are you talking about? You paid 12 quid to be in the room where it happened, and you got a cup of tea and half a biscuit. What are you complaining about? You get
to keep the bag.
You get to keep the bag, and it will be an eco-friendly bag, and there will be we'll have a little cord around it, and I'll get my assistant to go around and just make sure she just you know, tightens up each one so that there's no gossiping.
And afterwards they can plant it and it makes a beautiful tree.
It does make a beautiful tree. Only one of them one random one will turn into
a savage one.
A savage tree. It'll be like, what do you call it? What's that plant that eats insects? What do you call that? It'll be one of those.
Venus flytrap.
There you go. It'll be a Venus flytrap. It'll be a Venus, and it'll play tennis as well, just in tribute to Venus and her sister, the tennis.
Exactly. I'm very hyped about this. I'll get my people to call your people. My people are me. I will call your people. And
my people to me too. You know, I don't have a manager at the moment. It's just me.
Oh, I could do that.
Great.
Then you could be my manager, and then this is perfect.
Great. Listen, as your manager, I need to talk to you about next week, because you've got a lot of stuff that you haven't done yet. A lot of social.
You've seen my kitchen.
Listen, there's a lot of editing to do, Sarah. I don't know when you're going to get around to. You've got a lot of backed up interviews here that.
Yeah. Well, you've just jumped to the front of the queue, so I'm obviously doing this one first.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay.
Genuinely, I filmed my next 35 episodes.
You have?
Yeah.
You are seriously one of the hardest working people in entertainment. You really are. It's amazing. So, okay, a couple of things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
We've got some pretty serious cinema chairs in the background there with the drink holders.
They recline. Oof. When the pandemic happened, I was really missing the cinema. So I just decided to make one in my house.
So good. I
got a display cabinet that you'd find in a shop, and I've put M&Ms and popcorn on it and all that kind of stuff. It's ridiculous.
Oh my God, I love that. Now, I know a lot of people have varying opinions about Michael Jackson, and I don't care what they think. I'm just going to say, I always wanted to have my own like cinema and thing like that. And it's because growing up, knowing that at the Havenhurst house where the Jacksons all grew up, they had like a popcorn machine, and that used to just seem like the most extravagant thing in the world to me. And then obviously at Neverland, he had like a whole cinema and stuff like that. But even throughout all of this job and career, excuse the noise outside, by the way, I'm staying in North London and there seems to be some hooligans around.
How dare they?
How dare they? Do you know, I've never had a home cinema.
You should.
I know. You've got one now. I want one.
Well, you're going to have to come around and visit it. Anywhere in the UK is 1 hour from anywhere else, so you could get here from anywhere on your tour.
Do you know, I did say that, sadly, to someone who was complaining that we made a joke that no matter where you play, someone will always say, how come you're not playing Preston? And my response to that is what you just said. I'm like, you know, any of my dates are within 1 hour train ride. You could come. Yeah.
But it's true.
It's been a really, really tough week for just human rights.
Yeah.
This obsession with trans lives, this obsession is just terrifying. And what I've been saying lately is, we can keep this in the interview if you like. What I've been saying lately is that in America, this assault on body autonomy is really Orwellian and terrifying, because the way I feel being like a gay man is that women have always been our saviors. They are our first protector. So I can say that, like, as a performer, so my connection to young teen women was always just so unique, because teen women and the male pop star, and especially the feminine male pop star who is often ends up being a gay person or something, there's this sacred, safe connection there. But also just being a gay man and having a female friend, that's the first person you come out to. That woman is the person that protects you from this misogynistic, patriarchal world or whatever. And gay men and the queer community at the moment really needs to stick together and protect the fact that if a woman's right to choose is on the chopping block, that's just their gateway drug to the rest of us.
Yeah.
And they're coming, obviously, for trans rights and for gay rights. And it's to think that if these kind of masquerading fanatical religious extremists is what I think of them as, these right-wing extremists that hide behind religion as their moral, compass, whatever. If they have no problem coming for one gender, coming for like just reproductive rights, that's terrifying. And that just needs to stop. And I keep reminding everyone about Pride and just saying, when you look around at these events, and there'll be 1 million people marching in the UK, or in London, I think, maybe this weekend, but think of every one of those people as a vote. And let's remember how powerful we all are when it comes to what we spend, how we vote, and just remember the power that we have, and let's use it, because they're coming for us.
They really are. I mean, in about 2016, 2017, there's a far-right group, and they said that they wanted to use trans people as a wedge issue to break up the LGBTQIA community, and also use that as a starting point to take away people's body autonomy with abortion rights and marriage equality and all that stuff. So it's really difficult, but when people aren't aware of that and they just hear the misinformation and not the reasons or the strategy behind it.
Yeah, it's terrifying. I don't know how you feel about it, though. I still feel that within the queer community, I don't think they're getting anywhere in terms of dividing us.
No, not at all.
Like, we're like this.
Stronger than ever.
Absolutely so protective and defiant, and like, don't fuck with the trans community. It's kind of how we feel. I feel like that's a very unified feeling, but I absolutely see it within the fundamental right wing that it's just a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
But also at the same level, they're talking about, say, using this body autonomy issue or abortion as a reason to just go for marriage equality again. It's just like, we've literally just been through this, like,
yeah.
Really, so I love that they haven't divided us. And
they can't.
No, we're the same. What they've underestimated too is the young, this is how beautiful this is, this conversation around, and the literacy around the understanding between the difference between sex and gender, that young people really understand this now, and sexuality and genitalia, and like, the right wing is so caught up on bathrooms. And it's just like, you speak to like a 15-year-old and they're so literate and articulate about pronouns and just, it looked like I froze then. It's just my brain froze. They're
I do that all the time. It just preserves energy. I'm like,
like, I spoke to, I was trying to protect someone's privacy then, which is why I froze. So I spoke to somebody the other day who just revealed, you know, that their 15-year-old was just talking about that they weren't, they were just questioning their gender. And neither of us just blinked, and it was just such a normal conversation now.
Of course.
Because it is. And it's like, in the same way that, like, you know, now, for example, we understand that, so we're so much more comfortable talking about attention deficit disorders, or, you know, children of 20, 30 years ago that would have been described as naughty or difficult. Now we're so educated and literate in understanding that people have different learning styles and whatever. I'm just like, wow, you right-wing bigots have completely underestimated that the youth of this world are very hyper aware of their freedom of expression and their freedom of difference. And that excites me, you know. And when the news, oh my gosh, when the news starts to talk about stuff like, they're like, oh, there's been a rise in, you know, people identifying as trans, whatever. It's like, yeah, because they feel free.
Yeah, I knew in the 1980s. I just didn't think it was a good idea to tell you.
Hello, thank you. You know, and it's like, do you realize what you're saying? It's because we live in a society now where people understand that it's free to actually say the things that they thought were going to get them persecuted. So in that respect, that gives me hope, because I know that those young people are going to grow up and be in politics and be in positions of power. And that's what I'm clinging on to. That's the hope that I'm clinging on to, because the other option is just to live in despair. That's not going to do anything for us.
I strongly believe we will get there, and I'm not going to stop working and fighting until everybody has equality and can just live their lives and be respected for who they are, not who anyone else wants them to be.
I mean, it just seems so normal and logical to me, like, when we say this. And maybe we're spoiled because we surround ourselves with people that love us, and so, like, there isn't anyone in my life that wouldn't say what you just said. So it just seems so impossible to me. And then sometimes I just think, is it just that the people that spout this hatred have just never been exposed to us?
I think the thing is that they have everything that we want for ourselves, just to be respected and live authentically. They have that, but they just don't want anyone else to have it if it differs from what their version of being them is.
Yeah. And what does that mean when you break it down? Like, what is being threatened? I often think it's this. If you're unhappy, you're okay being unhappy if you think there's no way out. But when you see that somebody else has found a secret to happiness, or that there's a side door to escape, it must threaten you, because you don't want to do the work to be happy, and you would rather sit in misery than know that there's a way out. And I think sometimes people like us, who have had to sacrifice and fight so hard just to be free, I think it's a threat to them, because perhaps they're in a marriage that makes them unhappy. Perhaps the dream job and lifestyle that they've chosen, that they've been fed, maybe it isn't doing it for them. And it's fine, it does it for most people, but maybe these people who are just so deeply held in their hatred, and they're so, I'm going to use their word, but they're so triggered by the fact that other people are free, they have to destroy that, because it would mean that they could be free too, and they can't bear that thought, because that would mean that they would have to change something in their lives. And it's like, stop projecting your misery onto us.
Right.
We want you to be free too. We want everyone to be free.
Yeah, I want everybody to be free and be happy, and that doesn't come at the expense of anyone else. Just make sure that you're happy and leave everyone else to do their life. They know what they're doing with it. They don't need any help from anybody else.
Yeah, for sure. God, I love you.
I love you. I'm going to say this now. You're my favorite guest I've ever had on the show. And I truly mean that. I don't say that to anybody else. Like even, I was thinking about this earlier, when even in the 1990s, when there wasn't necessarily people for me to talk to about anything, your music was there for me to sort of be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it
So
does make sense, because you're going to make me cry. People don't understand this, but I think you'll understand it. Because I think I felt trapped in a similar way that you felt trapped. And I was begging for help in my music.
Mm.
And I knew that the people that connected with it could see me, and I felt seen and I felt held. And I think that's what I'm so grateful for. That's why sometimes people expect me to like dump on Savage Garden, or dump on the fact that I had like teen fans, or you know, female teen fans, or things like that. But no, that was me suffering and speaking and singing in code to people who I somehow found a way to find people that were also suffering in whatever way, whether it be just the simple way that teenagers suffer, where as a teenager you just feel so uncomfortable in your body anyway, you know, or it's just so hard to just get through the world. And you know, I was up there standing next to who I thought was an Adonis. You know, my band member was just somebody that the world viewed as just typically good looking, somebody that was just typically good looking. And I was somebody that was just, you know, people would describe as exotic, you know. And I struggled so much with my own identity and my own just physical looks and all of that sort of stuff. But when I sang, I just found like a mirror. I found people that looked at me and they held me and understood me. So I feel the same gratitude to you as a person, but then also you as the collective you, because the audience saved me, and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for all of those people that just, they didn't, you know, I was bullied so much as a kid and at school, and we all were, you know. But when I was on top of the pops in my John Paul goatee and my painted nails, my weird Caesar haircut, and whatever I was doing, I felt so accepted in a way that the world before that never did. And not because of fame, and not because of money or applause or anything like that, because I didn't feel like a freak anymore. I just felt like that tribal feeling of like, these people get me, and I've never forgotten that. So thank you. Sorry, I'm sorry I cried.
No, not at all. I mean, I was feeling that too, and just thinking back to that time, you know, I mean, I heard your music, but I heard you as well, if that makes sense.
No, and I'm so grateful, because it's that power, I think, of, you know, that subliminal emotional connection that we feel from music. And I'm just so glad that we did, because so many people did. And I was really, it was a cry for help, you know, when I said, I believe you can't control or choose your sexuality. I was so terrified that people would be repulsed by me if they knew who I really was. And I know that you relate so hard to that feeling. You know, the first time that I ever went to, the reason I have such a deep connection to the trans community is because the first time I ever went to, I never felt like I fitted in gay bars at all, because a lot of the gay men of my generation were understandably really deeply scarred emotionally. You know, often we were rejected by our fathers.
Yeah.
And we were, in a Freudian sense, chasing a father figure. So often we would dress and act and style ourselves in a way that was designed to attract what we were missing. So therefore, we were all just, not me, because I never looked like that, but you were in a room full of what was really just like avatars. You know, everyone was just dressed up like a peacock, because what they were really doing was advertising what it was that they deeply, deeply missed. But what you were never really connecting with someone, because you were just meeting someone that was just this version of what they thought a man should be or should look like. So I never had abs, never had whatever the cool haircut was. I didn't have whatever the proper body was, or I wasn't any of the categories that a gay man was supposed to be. But when I went to the Stud Bar in San Francisco, that's where all the like the indie kids went, and the freaks and the queers, and that's where the trans community were. And when I would speak to women there, I just instantly connected. And I think it's because of that feeling of maybe, like I described before, of when I was in a marriage to a woman, I felt that feeling of being trapped and thinking that I had to play that role forever. And so I had that deep empathy and an understanding, as much as I possibly can, but that understanding of what it must feel like to be in a body that you know is not your body. And the panic that must feel like, because I experienced that panic, you know, that physical panic of just knowing that something was deeply wrong, but I didn't think there would ever be a way out of that. And the way out of that seemed like I had to dismantle so much and hurt so many people. But then to be on the other side of it and just be like, oh my gosh, like it's possible to be happy, you know?
Yeah. Infinitely more so. The thing that I was always frightened that people would find out about me, basically who I was, my core essence as a person is me, and it's who I am. It's my strength.
Your
And the fact that I
soul.
was hiding, yeah, it really is. And you know, the thing that I was petrified of people finding out about is the thing that people love about me. You know, not that I transitioned, but just that I am fully 100% me.
Yeah. Oh, I just got goosebumps. Someone said that to me today. You know, isn't it funny that we worried so much about what other people would think about us? And in the end, they didn't care. And in fact, they preferred this version of us.
Yes.
I just hope, you know, you always, you know, you wish that younger generations or children, like my goddaughter is 5, and if I could, I would want her to never feel any pain and never go through any of the things that I've gone through. And of course, you can't prevent children from making mistakes or learning lessons or whatever. But there is one lesson that I hope that younger generations don't have to go through, which is that the years of self-suffering that I think I put myself through unnecessarily.
That's it. I just want to make it okay for everyone else, so they don't have to go through decades of just stress that no one even knows about, just crying myself to sleep. And just, you know, when I remember I've never said this before, but I remember being a kid and just laying on my bed and wishing God would strike me with a lightning bolt and just end it, you know, because I didn't think it was possible to be myself. Growing up in the 80s and even in the 1990s, it seemed beyond impossible. And I just knew that if I got the best education I did and the best job, then I could hopefully find a way to be myself. And then, you know, when you realize it, like you said, no one else actually cares. People walk down the street and sometimes they might feel self-conscious, but people are thinking about their phones, what are they cooking for dinner? And everyone's just wrapped up so much in their own world. I'm just me. I'm literally just me. And, you know, I'm infinitely happier. And if anyone celebrates who I am, that they're in my life, and if, you know, they're a bigoted person, then they're not in my life anymore. And I have that power. And so does everybody else.
They don't get VIP access anymore.
They really don't.
No, you always do to me, but, and you know,
likewise.
But yeah, you know, I did the same thing. I used to pray to God every night. I used to actually say those words: please don't make me gay. Please don't make me gay. And it was around the time of all the fear mongering around AIDS, and it was when Ronald Reagan was president in America. Yeah. Rock Hudson was dying. And I thought, just because I thought about men, I was going to contract AIDS. And the fear and just the shame and the anxiety of being a young baby. We were just babies. And we were just so full of dread and anxiety. And just like, my gosh, just now we live in a world where, you know, I want this literacy. I want our children. It's so funny, the thing that they don't want. It's like it's so necessary to young children's survival, is this literacy, to be able to understand and put words and to their feelings. And you know, no gay person ever became straight from growing up with two straight parents.
Doesn't work.
Didn't work, didn't stick. Not with me, you know. No child ever became trans from having trans parents.
Right.
It's just, you know, it's just the basic litmus test. You walk up to someone and say, when did you choose to be gay? Can't answer it. You know, when did you choose to be trans? Didn't.
I was just born. I didn't choose it at all.
Exactly. The answer is surrendered. I think for me, it's like I surrendered. I finally surrendered because I put up quite the fight.
Yeah.
It's always so good to talk to you.
You mean the world to me, and I really appreciate your friendship and just you as a person. And I'm so happy that you're releasing music again. And I can see the joy in your music videos and just online people's reactions to you when tickets went on sale, and that excitement and that buzz has never gone away. And it's amazing.
Sarah, I do feel terrible that you paid for tickets, but we will absolutely spoil you rotten. So please come and, you know, come whenever you want to, but we're going to have a sound check beforehand, and we'll ask questions, but it might be really fun if I definitely want to do that thing I talked about.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do it, then I'm happy to.
Then we can. It'd be fun if you went up on stage, but what would be really fun is if at some point, when I'm not super busy, but we could, I would love to do sort of like an evening in conversation thing where we could do something for a charity that you really know is effective, and we can make it a ticketed event. And because I just love talking to you, and I know my fans love, you know, you are my favorite interview that I've ever done.
Thank you.
Everyone says it, and it would just mean so much to me. And we could raise some really good money, I think. And
I'd be genuinely honoured to do it. And yeah, I mean, I'd love to celebrate anything you want to talk about in, you know, just your entire career, and we can have fun moments. And
talk, and we can both talk about both of our stuff. We can do whatever we want, but just, you know, have a chat together, and we could make it really lovely. We could do it somewhere beautiful. Like I could hire a really lovely room in a London hotel. I could somewhere beautiful, like a small, make it really classy, beautiful, small thing. We can serve some lovely food and just have a really fun night, but really emotional night. Maybe I could sing a little bit, and it'd be fun.
I could beatbox.
It's so funny. Oh God. Oh great. It's okay.
You've hit the bottle.
I've hit the bottle again. It's that night.
Just on the Chica Cherry cola at the moment.
Oh, it's so fun. When I did my last video, again, so proud. I'm just going to share all this out. Like our producer was, he's bisexual, and he was also beautiful, and very charming, because he made sure that on set we had cherry cola, and he was a millennial, which I loved, and he was just like, cool. So I had to get the cherry cola.
Darren Hayes, thank you so much for your time and coming back on my show. I love you, and I'm so happy that you're going back on tour. I'm really excited about it. A few tickets are still available. Get them while you can. Subscribe to Darren Hayes, his newsletter, and follow him in life. Really incredible.
So if you're a casual fan of me or Sarah, but you're just watching and you love this, you need to subscribe to Sarah's YouTube channel and all of her socials, because these are hidden gems. Some of the biggest stars in the world are on this channel, biggest stars in the world, and they all end up cracking up, laughing, and saying that this is one of the best interviews they've ever done. So
it's a huge relief, actually. I mean, imagine if they didn't say that.
Well, I mean, it's hard to not say that when you have a loaded weapon at your head. Said it. Sorry, the guy with the gun is very intimidating.
Yeah, I don't know why he doesn't work out both of his arms. He just does the one.
Just does the one arm. And also, I don't know why you pay for the guy to come all the way to this location instead of just like shepherding me to your secret lair and just getting me to do it there, because it's pretty.
The shepherds are fully booked. That's why I couldn't do it. I had to get a guy with one big arm muscle.
I get it. I get it. Also, you know what? The end of 7 days of promo, I have no jokes left. All I have is my throat spray. This is called Entertain the Secret, and I'm not being promoted to use this, but I need to. Freddie, I swear to God, somebody put some assholes in the front row of my show that made dirty looks all night long. I swear to God, and they were so depressing to me. They kept, and my headset kept cutting out during. Where's the party? And don't tell me you didn't notice. That was my Madonna impersonation. Somebody get Ethan, you asshole, because he's in charge of the sound of my show. And gosh. Anyway, I love you. I want you to be writing on a TV show. Anyway, I have plans for you. I'm going to talk to my people, and I'm managing you now. So that's what's going on.
Deal. And keep in touch. Free to chat anytime, on or off camera, etc. By the way, I loved this magazine.
Oh, good. Isn't it fun?
It's gorgeous.
It's just so, it's just like being in the 90s again, having a magazine.
Yeah.
Well, I would fly you to the moon and back if you'll subscribe to the Sarah O'Connell Show. Most degrading moment of my life, and I would only do it for Sarah O'Connell.
Darren Hayes, thank you so much for coming on the Sarah O'Connell Show, and thank you to everybody watching at home. Be sure to share, subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and leave lots of lovely comments. I'll see you all again soon for another episode of the Sarah O'Connell Show. Bye.
Bye. Don't just stand there. Don't just stand there. Let's get to it. Subscribe to the show. There's nothing to it. Sarah O'Connell. Bye. Love you, bye. Love you, bye.
Love you so much. Bye.
Love you, bye.
Love you. Bye. Bye.
I love you more.
Love you more.